Hello, everyone. It's so exciting to have you all here today. To get things started, would just love to learn a little bit more about each of you. So maybe we could start with Stacy, and if you could introduce yourself, and I'd love to hear from you. Why are benefits cliffs important to you in your work?
Okay, hi, good morning, everybody, or no, afternoon. So I'm Stacy Nodelman. I'm the Director of Public Assistance for New York State. So I work at the Office of Temporary and Disability Assistance. I'm just really grateful to be here today to have this conversation with everyone. It's such a vital issue. I mean, I used to be a PA recipient. I know what it is to worry that if I get income, I can't afford childcare, and I have been there. I have made that leap and realized, oh, I'm functionally earning $1.25 an hour now once I'm paying for my own childcare. And yeah, so we're looking for innovative solutions, and I'm just great to be here with these folks.
Good morning. My name is Alicia Johnson. I am the Assistant Director of the Center for Entrepreneurship at the Louisville Urban League in Louisville, Kentucky. We are a part of the National Urban League, headquartered in Harlem, New York. And I am glad to be here and be able to give my opinion and some facts about Benefits Cliff. I, too, was a recipient of Section 8, Medicaid, SNAP benefits when I was in college with 3 kids, 3 small kids. And when I landed a job, it shocked me because I lost all of that immediately. And I was not prepared. I never had the conversation with anybody. So I'm glad to be here to speak on behalf of the clients that I serve at the Louisville Urban League. Thank you.
Hey there, I'm Rebecca Sides. I'm with the American Public Human Services Association, or APHSA. We are the bipartisan membership association for city, county, and state human service agencies across the country. We represent administrators of SNAP, TANF, SNAP Employment and Training, child care, child welfare, and other programs. And I work most closely with SNAP Employment and Training and TANF administrators in my role, which connects me to Stacy. So excited to have you here. And I did, while we're introducing ourselves, want to mention, I know that New York City and Long Island like to distinguish themselves from one another, but I did grow up a short LIRR train ride away from here, right by Stony Brook SUNY. So it is so good to be back in New York, and just thank you so much for having me and inviting me, Shoshana. This is such an important question. What we hear from our members, right, and Shoshana introduced this so well already, that that small increase in wages, in work hours, or a promotion can mean hundreds or even thousands of dollars lost for families if they hit a cliff in a year. But also, on the same token, if there's a policy change, like an asset limit change, eligibility limit, treatment of income change, that might create a new cliff for families suddenly. And so families lose more than they gain. Employers who have worked hard to hire workers lose them to simple math. There's a lot of research that shows benefit cliffs are impacting communities of color disproportionately in comparison to white communities. And when you look at the interplay of public benefits policies, you see that across the board, we're seeing that benefits cliffs are limiting economic opportunity, but they're also disincentivizing career growth. So it's really a wicked problem because you can't solve benefits cliffs across programs with a single policy. And so we're looking for a career ladder out of poverty, but we really are looking more at just a continuous uphill climb because of cliffs.
And I guess it's afternoon now, so good afternoon, everyone. My name's Terry L. Peters. I'm the clinical supervisor at the Doe Fund. And benefit cliffs plays a major role in who's going to return back to work and who is not. Just the idea of returning back to work for someone who's been on public benefits for a while is terrifying. And then on top of that, once they make the transition into full-time employment, obtaining it is one thing, but maintaining it is another. And how is that going to impact their day-to-day life? So this tool is important to me because it allows me to have an informed conversation with the person on the other side and allow them to make the decision that's going to be best for their life.
Thank you, everyone. Teriel, I was thinking when you said good afternoon, I entered once for a court, and the most exciting time of the day was when it turned 12 o'clock. I could say good afternoon, so we've made it. I have some individual questions for each of you, but really goal is for this to be more of a conversation, so feel free to jump in at any point. And Teriel, I really want to dive into more what you were saying. The tool that Teriel was referencing is our Benefits Cliff Calculator, which can predict for folks and show them how is this new job that I'm looking to obtain, how will that impact my benefits? And you've been having a lot of these conversations. So I'd love to hear from you. How are you seeing benefits cliffs already shape the ability of the folks that you're working with to advance? And what's it like as a coach to guide them through that process?
Okay, well, when I first started using the tool, it terrified me. And when I used it with my first client, it terrified them. Because like you guys were saying earlier, it's not one size fit all. You really need to take a deeper dive into the person that you're serving at the moment. You need to see what actual benefits are they receiving, because none of them are the same. All of them have different rules as far as, work tryouts and income disregards. So you have to really dive a little deeper to see if the person is just trying to make some temporary cash, are they really looking to advance their career? And if they are really ready. Also, you could say you want a job, but being ready for a job that can advance into a career are two totally different things. And the last thing that we want to see happen is someone re-enter the world of work just to have all of the courage it took to take that step destroyed if there's a termination or for some reason they experience a chronic illness and have to return back to where they were. So what I like to do personally, before we even take out the tool, let's have a conversation. Let's talk about you. What are you trying to do? What are your dreams? Are you trying to go back to school? Where do you see yourself in 5 years, 10 years? From there, I can make an intelligent decision on if the moment is right to actually use the tool, or if we should probably just maybe do some more skill development, or maybe there needs to be some financial management put in place also. Once the decision has been made, the first thing I want to do is look at what benefits you're receiving, and then I need to do my homework to make sure that the calculator, which is going to show you a snapshot of the future, does not intimidate you, because there are work tryouts. There's the 6-month income disregard for New York State. And maybe with a little financial management, proper planning, we could build a nest egg for you to where once the benefits are gone, you could transition into full-time employment and never look back.
Thank you, Teriel. I'm so happy this is recorded so that we could show this to all the other coaches in the platform, because what you're highlighting is that the math is so individualized. So people always say, like, okay, what point? What's the wage that you're gonna hit a cliff? And it's so different for each person. But it's not just the math that's so specific, that conversation looks so different depending on the person's situation, but their goals and their ambitions, and being able to really center that conversation around a client's goal and ambitions can take what is or really understandably intimidating and can feel like an impossible conversation and just open it up to opportunities and next steps. Alicia, you've also been doing a lot of work with the Louisville Urban League. We've been working with the Doe Fund for the past year. The Louisville Urban League at first thing, I think it's since 2022. So it's been a minute. Both working with clients on the ground, but also in your role, really thinking about how, as an organization, you're incorporating these conversations into your work. So yeah, I would love to know more. Why did the Louisville Urban League, why did you choose to prioritize benefits cliffs, and how has it affected your ability to help the folks that you're working with?
Okay, so benefits cliffs are important to the work we do because it is the greatest barrier to our mission to move families from poverty to self-sufficiency. Our mission assists Black people and other marginalized individuals with economic and social equality. Our efforts are not just about placing people in jobs. They are about creating pathways to sustainable wages, because people have the right to take care of themselves and their families. And this is about building generational wealth and closing the racial wealth gap in Louisville, Kentucky. We can't, in good conscience, encourage people to go up the success ladder, the career ladder, and not address the traps that are set for them along the way. I've witnessed several occasions where a client has enrolled in one of our training programs, completed it, worked hard to complete it, gain employment only to lose their Medicaid or their SNAP benefits for an hourly wage that wasn't even really worth losing those benefits. The benefits cliff is a powerful break in economic mobility. It forces people to make decisions that seem like they're being stagnant. It's like stagnation. When clients calculate the benefit of taking a supervisory position that will cause them to maybe lose their child care subsidy, the rational choice is to decline the promotion. And we can't as an organization, we cannot force people to go up the career ladder if the rungs are financially unstable. If we push people to higher wages without warning them of the cliffs, that makes people lose trust in us. And we are an agency that advocates for trust and for people to be able to take care of themselves.
Yeah, I mean, that trust is so key to be able to have these really hard conversations. And one thing I've always admired about the Louisville Urban League is just these ongoing relationships that you have with clients. I'm thinking of one client that we had the opportunity to learn a little more about, Ms. Joyce, who, when we first had this conversation around benefits cliffs, she was understandably like, I can't risk losing my benefits right now. And she decided not to take a job that she was really excited about. And in the end, she actually had a medical emergency, and that those benefits were allowed her to live. So she made absolutely the right choice for her at that moment. But because you had these ongoing relationships with her a year later, you were able to have that conversation again, and things looked a little bit different, and you were able to figure out okay, what is the job you can take, and while maintaining the right amount of benefits, and also still pursuing your those career goals and ambitions that they had. So just always appreciate that about you all, about that intentionality in terms of how you're bringing it up, but also those continuous relationships and trust, and how that really opens up opportunities for folks.
So we no longer just do career coaching. We connect people to financial empowerment counselors that are trained in our organization, because it's not just about that salary, it's about a household. So we review the household and not just that salary.
That holistic approach.
Yes.
Benefits cliffs are certainly one barrier, one part of this larger picture, this larger process. So I hope from Teriel and Alicia, you could see how powerful coaching and transparency can be, even if it can be scary to do, how needed it is, because these are already choices. People are already making these choices around their benefits. Let's get some facts and information and plan ahead. But we also know this doesn't solve the issue. Still, at the end of the day, there's this cliff and this impossible or really hard choice that they're making. So Stacey, I'd love to hear from you. What are some things happening in New York State policy level? What are some of the things that you're working on? And is there anything that's particularly promising or that you're excited about?
All right, thank you so much. Yeah, there's been a lot of work lately, the last few years in particular, focusing on where there are benefit cliffs and really working that into the structure of potential policy changes. As we all know very well in this room, there are very unintended consequences to slight shifts in policy. So if public assistance changes one thing, you have to look at what will happen to SNAP. You have to look at what will happen to Medicaid, to childcare. So we're starting from that standpoint. I mean, we did implement some budget changes in 2022, so we changed the income test. So again, part of why I'm so grateful for those of you helping explain these to people, because it's pretty tough to explain to a layperson, oh, but we eliminated the gross income test and the poverty level test, but don't worry, it's a needs test now. And they're like, thanks. But actually, that does functionally really make a much more tapering effect. I think one of the best tools we have, honestly, is income disregards, but as we were discussing off stage, they're one of the most complicated things to explain to people. So one of them is a very recent one, implemented in December of 23, is that 100% earned income disregard that gives people 6 months without us counting their income for public assistance. And we crafted it so it's not counted for HEAP either. Then there's 100% disregard for qualified educational and training programs, so that's really exciting. Folks get that opportunity to ramp up their skills and their training. And then we have our stock income disregards of 64% from earned income, and then minus another 150. But again, hence the need for those of you to explain it. I mean, I'm sure folks are following, but. So we've also changed resource limits for PA recipients. So we now go up to 10,000 so that hopefully folks can save up some money. I mean, it's tough, right? I mean, savings is often a dream, but if folks can, there are exemptions for saving up for school, for cars, up to 10,000. We're factoring it into the structure of new benefits. We just got one rolled out in November 5th, actually, the baby benefit, which provides $1,800 to parents who have a baby while they're on public assistance. So we structured it as a one-time payment so that it wouldn't hit other benefits, so it's not countable for SNAP. We're calling it an emergency. There's an immediate need associated with having a brand new baby. So that's a good example of factoring in other programs into our structures. And then we're doing a lot of more experimental things. We're trying to allocate, we're given money in the prior year's state budget for the Child Poverty Reduction Initiative, which hits upstate cities and allocates money to do some research on direct cash transfers and varying forms of cliff mitigation strategies. And we brought on a evaluator so that we can get some rigorous evaluation of what's happening there. And I think one of the major items we did, again, thank you to New York City also for facilitating all these wonderful direct cash transfer programs and the evaluation of them. So back in 22, a law was passed that allows us to exempt a lot of studies. So if any of you have studies in progress working on benefits cliffs, make sure you, sorry in advance, HRA folks, connect with HRA if you're in New York City and see about getting an official letter submitted to our agency so we can do our best to exempt them as income and resource for any of our programs. So yeah. Those are some of the tools we're using.
Some of the many. It's so exciting because we hear NIAT has done amazing work with the income disregard bill and the fiscal cliff task force that they're hoping to get passed this year. And it's so exciting to hear all the different initiatives that are happening. And I think what you're highlighting is that there's a lot of ways to help mitigate this problem for people. How do we make it a little easier? The flip side is that it does sometimes add layers of complexity to the process. But how can we mitigate it? Because eliminating it is doable, but might require some more bigger system, truly shifting the system holistically. So how can we make this a little easier for folks right now? And then also when we're creating new programs, how can we make sure we're considering benefits cliffs and not accidentally making things worse for folks because we're not considering the impact of benefits? Rebecca, I know you know a lot about what's happening across the country, working with different states around the different policies that they're implementing to help remove this barrier. So yeah, I would love to hear from you. What are some of the things that other states are implementing, and are there any right now in this unique moment that we're in, are there any unique opportunities or challenges that you anticipate states facing as they're implementing them?
Yes, great question. One that's not easy to answer quickly, but I'm going to do my best. And so just for a bit of context, let me share about what APHSA has been working on in the last year. We put out a Benefits Cliffs Resource Hub and Policy Dashboard. It includes an interactive dashboard tool that demonstrates policy changes that 11 states and the District of Columbia have put forward over the last 10 years in their areas, in their states, and the district, that have been shown to mitigate cliffs. But we didn't stop there. We also included some state profiles that show a little bit more of the contextual information of what was going on in the states that brought about those policy changes over time. Things like who were they collaborating with, how did they fund these changes, how did they elevate community voice and leverage that to bring people along, how did they work with legislators, what initiatives were going on that were driving these changes behind the scenes. So we interviewed the 11 states and the District of Columbia administrators in TANF, SNAP, Medicaid, childcare, housing, and other programs. We scoured the internet and looked through lots of reports and compiled everything we learned, put it into this resource hub and tool, and made it publicly available on our website. When I think about changes that I'm seeing the states make, as I think about what we've learned through all that research, we see policy changes, we see changes to the frontline practice, we see changes to culture, and I think I'd bucket it, and I've seen it bucketed in 3 ways. So the first is when we think about how to transition off benefits, slowing that transition down. So like graduated phase-out approaches, transitional assistance, grace periods if you're earning new income before eligibility is reassessed. If you're transitioning off of multiple programs at once, having you do graduated phase-outs sequentially rather than simultaneously for those programs. So that would be bucket 1. The second bucket that we see is increasing eligibility limits. So that includes asset limits like Stacey just mentioned in New York. We also see income disregards there if you're going to disregard certain types of income when determining someone's eligibility for a program. And then the third bucket we've talked about already quite a bit, individualized coaching and those benefit cliff calculator tools. So a lot of states have developed their own, or they work with Leap Fund, the Atlanta Fed. They predict, if looking at the formulas for all these different programs, where would a family experience cliffs, leveraging technology to help predict both for the individual who's going to be making those transitions, but also for case managers or coaches who can help them plan for those transitions. When we think about challenges, I'm sure it's old news and kind of just run-of-the-mill. We all know that we have political environment and fiscal environment that we need to navigate. And so if you don't have top-down leadership, if it's not your governor's first priority to address benefits cliffs, that might change how a state approaches the work that they're thinking about for the next 3 to 5 years, even 1 to 2 years. And then fiscally, we've had on this stage lots of conversation about H.R. 1 or the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, the reality of changes to the way that states are doing the cost share with SNAP, and then the changes to administrative funding in SNAP. Just those 2 alone have really changed the fiscal landscape for states' budgets, and so that might change how much experimentation they're doing or where funding for pilots might be going, et cetera. But there's a lot of opportunity. So 3 that come to mind. The first is framing. So benefits cliffs is a hugely bipartisanly supported topic to focus on. We see that both sides of the aisle have identified that benefits cliffs are a policy failure. And so finding language that really speaks to that, the whole audience that you're speaking to. So some frames, people are making rational economic decisions for their families. Yes. Benefits cliffs are a barrier to work. Mitigating benefits cliffs reduces government reliance on benefits. These frames are proving to be really effective for different states, so getting framing right. The next, get employers to the table. A lot of states have councils, committees, work groups that they're building, cross-sector, cross-program, bringing people together, include employers. Because when we see that employers are coming to a state's administration and saying, listen, my workers won't take additional hours, I need your help fixing this, that can really fuel the fire for a conversation. And then the third, I'd say, almost every state that we've talked to is intentionally including community voice in the conversations that they're having, but also bringing in those compelling stories, but creating those feedback loops, making sure that they're hearing from the families receiving these benefits, like what has your experience been, and really learning from them. I'd lift up Colorado and Washington, 2 states that have like family voice councils, groups of people who have been receiving benefits in their states that are providing recommendations on policy and practice in their states.
Oh, thank you so much, Rebecca. And we're certainly seeing like the unique challenges of this moment, but also like the momentum around benefits cliffs right now. Like it's so exciting to be here having this conversation, even seeing from the crowd how many people are familiar with benefits cliffs. People have been experienced them or have received benefits. This is always something they knew about, but this has really become more of a national conversation, which is why this dashboard that you've created is really exciting so other states can see and learn. And I love that framing, bringing employers in and making sure to bring the voices of people who are impacted by this. It's easier to get people around the problem of benefits cliffs. So when you come to the solution space is where things can be a little divisive. The easiest way to get rid of benefits cliffs is to get rid of benefits, but we obviously don't want to do that. It's how do we make sure we're creating opportunities and pathways for folks and that we're removing benefits cliffs in a way that does that. I have so many more questions for everyone on the panel, but I see we're getting close to time, so I'd like to close things out with a lightning round. Terry, I will start with you this time, go that way. Our final question, in 30 seconds, can you share what's one thing you'd want the audience to keep in mind or act on after this panel?
Okay, I think the most important takeaway from this is that benefit cliffs could really dissuade someone from taking that leap and becoming self-sufficient and re-entering the workforce. I've seen it firsthand. If you give someone just a little cushion and a lot of support, they will definitely surprise you and become more than even they could have imagined.
Yeah, I would love for you all to know that you have resources at your disposal that can help you bring ideas back to your team, help your own learning, or start thinking about how to build momentum for system change in the areas that you work as it relates to benefits cliffs. I don't know if you all are like me, but when I'm in your shoes, listening to things up here, the details get a little fuzzy after a few days. And so we have put all of our learnings online so that you don't have to remember the details, you can go check them out. So I would really I would encourage you to explore the resources. Go to LEAP Fund site, there's tons of resources there. Check out APHSA's Resource Hub and figure out what's your right next thing. Is it reading an article that was recently put out about benefits cliffs, bringing an idea back to your team, reaching out to someone with a question? We cannot afford in the employment and training and workforce development space to go another 5 years where our leaders and practitioners are not aware of the issue of benefits cliffs.
All right, I would like to stop interpreting rational survival choices as a lack of ambition. Whether you are an employer, a policymaker, or a service provider, stop expecting people to navigate a broken system. Redesign compensation models. Advocate for phase-outs of benefits instead of stopping them immediately.
Yes. Absolutely, absolutely. People want to do the right thing, and I am so frustrated with that, those assumptions people make, that folks are not making rational economic decisions when they make a decision to prioritize childcare and housing and benefits. But I would extend the people wanted to do the right thing to many policymakers, right? I think what I'd ask folks to do, or one thing I'd like people to take away, is people want to do the right thing, both from the policy side, from the coaching side, and the more we connect and keep having these conversations, the more our advocacy can be logical and push for things that don't inadvertently create cliffs. So the coordination in advance of advocacy can be really beneficial, so that we can make sure that those implementing and those affected by the policies we create are not are really woven into the process throughout. So thank you.
Thank you, and thank you so much, Teriel, Rebecca, Alicia, Stacy. Thank you for taking the time to come in, share your thoughts, your wisdom. My hope is that we all walk out of here more aware of this problem, but more committed to the solution, because everyone here really has a role to play. Okay, we've got a question from the live stream. Do New York or New York businesses advocate about benefits cliffs? Are there people in New York who are advocating around benefits cliffs? I don't know if
I
Stacey...
could take part of that, certainly. Yes, there are definitely large employers who are advocating around benefits cliffs. There is a project in the works that I actually can't say very much about right now, but there is some very active work going on right now to bridge employers, training programs, and the policymakers to craft better solutions to benefits cliffs and to increase opportunities with employers. So are some good conversations happening.
Yeah, if we had a whole other hour, I know that's kind of the one voice we didn't get to dive into as much as how employers are impacted by benefits cliffs, but it's something we actually saw in Kentucky, in Louisville, how much the employer, as you were saying, Rebecca, how much they drive a lot of the policy work that's been done there. So I'm happy we could give even a moment just to talk about some of that. But yes, thank you everyone again. Really hoping that we can all bring our voices together and build a system that doesn't punish mobility, but actually supports it. So thanks everyone so much.